Welcome to part 4 of the Sunflower Bouquet Stitch Along, the October Stitch Along for Coral Daisy Creates. I'm Christy, and tonight we are going to do the chain stitch, and we'll also do some split stitch. So the chain stitch is right here, just on this little leaf right here. And then the split stitch is used on this darker green shade. So 2 good stitches that are pretty versatile. I will tell you, I cleaned out my garage today, so please forgive my hands. They are dry. They are not looking spectacular. So I hope you will not judge. Or if you do judge, you know, whatever. All right, for the chain stitch, we are going to, it's very similar to the Lazy Daisy stitch, but we are going to make kind of like a row of Lazy Daisies. And I am going to do it the way I prefer to do it, which is kind of backwards. So if you know a different way and like your way, great. If you don't, maybe give this one a try. So we've got our thread. We're going to bring the needle up, and then we're going to take the needle right back down through the same hole. Then we're going to go to back where the beginning of our row of stitches is and bring the needle up. Okay, and then this is where you leave the length, you leave some extra, and then we're going to pull it till, not tight, but just till you're pleased with what you've got. Then you're going to take your needle back down through the fabric just as near as you can to that initial hole. Now, there's some, let's see here. There's some leeway there, but that's okay. And now we've got our first little piece of the chain done. So we're going to come down, bring the needle up, and then we're just going to run the needle underneath and make the second, link in our chain. I did not pull my fabric as tight as I normally prefer before I started stitching. Normally pretty, I don't like it to have so much give. I like it to kind of be like a drum. So now we're just going to do the same thing again, just adding more links onto our chain. So you're going to just bring the needle up, loop it under, as I get it all, and then put it right back down through that same hole. Bring it up again, bring the needle up, and it's just, it's a stitch that looks a little fancier, but is really pretty simple. Josie is in the background making all kinds of noise, just in case you didn't know she was here. And so hopefully you are ready to give the chain stitch a try. Now, I do have to say that if there are any stitches in this pattern that you don't love, don't do those. If there are stitches that you just really don't like, I don't think they have any room in your projects, because this is supposed to be fun and something you enjoy. So if you really dislike French knots, that's okay. You don't need to do French knots. If you dislike the chain stitch, that's okay. You don't need to do that one either. Or whatever it is, if it's not bringing you joy, I would say it doesn't really have a home in your project. There are, with embroidery, so many different ways to get to the same result. And really the result is that you're stitching. And for me, it's not about the finished project. It is about the process and the fact that when I'm stitching, I do not have my phone in my hands, and I'm not doing what people call the what do they call it? Doom scrolling. I'm not mindlessly scrolling through social media or just playing a game on my phone or any of those things. I am actually doing something with needle and thread. I might be watching TV. I might be listening to a podcast or music, but I am doing something that isn't going to make me as anxious or worried about the state of the world or things like that. So I would encourage you to do the same. Focus, because yes, if you finish this stitch along, that's great. You will have a beautiful piece of work. If you don't, but you spend a little time with needle and thread and you spend a couple nights without your phone in your hands, I think you still win. Yes, I want you to complete the project, but more importantly, I want you to put your phone down. That's probably a really interesting thing to talk about as you're watching a video that I'm talking on, but I think it's a little different because you're learning something new. So that's the chain stitch. I'm going to end my thread, and to stop my thread, I just bring it back through a couple times and then snip it off. I don't even have embroidery scissors sitting here right now, so you're just getting to see all kinds of reality. Now, I am going to show you next a stitch that I really did not have. There are several stitches on this project that I wasn't a huge fan of. One being the stem, and one being split stitch. So to do split stitch, I will also do this backwards. I don't know if it's because, I don't know why. I just feel like it's easier. So for the first stitch, you're going to bring your needle up. You're going to make a longer stitch. So mine is about 3/16 of an inch. Okay. And you're going to pull the thread back down through the fabric, but you do want to make, I'm having thread issues tonight. Can you tell? It's probably because I'm self-conscious about how dry my hands are, but you know, a day of going through boxes in the garage will do that. So now I'm going to bring my needle up, this time approximately half the length. So I'm going to bring the needle up about, I don't even know, maybe just probably 1/8 of an inch. Okay, and Then I'm going to split these threads. So that's why they call it the split stitch. So I like to do it backwards because that allows me to be sure that I'm splitting the threads. Then for each stitch, you're just going to go and you will bring the thread up through each hole and then down through each hole. And so you get kind of a little braided effect with this. So I'm just gonna keep going. It looks really pretty when you do it with the variegated embroidery floss and has a really neat look to it. So you're just basically splitting your 2 threads. Now, you cannot do split stitch if you just have 1 thread. So you need to have 2 so that it can be split. Otherwise, it would just, I don't know what it would be otherwise. So this is split stitch, and it is what is used on quite a few of the leaves. Love to know where you're at in your project, if you have any questions or if there's anything you're wondering about. And you can see it just really makes a pretty braided effect. I will say it is one after I'm working it with pearl cotton. I think it looks prettier with embroidery floss. It's a little more delicate that way, less chunky. So I highly recommend doing it with floss. But that is the split stitch. So let me get my little project back out. And you can see that, let's see if I can get really official here. Zoom in. So you can see right here, that's the chain stitch, and then this is the split stitch. So it definitely gives a really pretty look. On this leaf, on these leaves, I satin stitched the little buds, like the leaves that are around the buds of the periwinkle flowers. So you're going to do chain stitch for this leaf. I think it's the 6th step, but I don't think I numbered the steps. So, and then you're going to do, or what I did with these leaves, this one and this one, I did the split stitch. Don't love split stitch, don't love chain stitch, back stitch it. If you want the same thick effect, do 2 rows of back stitches. So stitch the stitches you enjoy, not necessarily what Christy said she used, because this is about enjoying. So we definitely want to make sure that that's what you're doing. And then for tonight's sneak peek, I will show you another kit that will be released next week. This is a slow stitching kit, and it says Merry and Bright. You can see the mess on my desk, but I'm trusting that you're not going to judge me. We're friends, right? So hopefully not. And so this is the Merry and Bright Slow Stitch Kit. It will be coming out early next week. Actually, not necessarily. You guys, I am a disaster today. Just in case you wondered. Let's see. Can I make the orange thread fall down again? So it will be coming out next week on Tuesday. And I hope you're a little bit ready for Christmas by then. I will tell you, this is what I do if I want more space because I want to stitch in a hoop, but I don't have, I like to use big hoops, and I don't have enough border around the fabric to stitch all the way to the edge. Then I will sew a strip of fabric on the outside. So this is completely scrap fabric. I think maybe you saw right here. Doesn't match. Doesn't matter. So I will do that. That's my little hack to make sure that there's enough room. And if you're really, really nice, since you stayed around and watched, I will also show you the Christmas stitching that's coming out next week. You only get to see paper because the fabric comes tomorrow. It was supposed to come today, but it's not here. It comes tomorrow. So we've got some fun Christmas trees that just have bright colored little stars around them. I think they'll be really fun to just kind of stitch however you like. Just do your own thing. And I'll, of course, be showing you what I'm doing. The other cool thing about the Merry and Bright, it has the map. So hopefully you can see, this Merry is already printed on the fabric, and I just chain stitched around it. Eensy weensy chain stitches. I obviously did much better on these than on what I was demonstrating to you. And then all the fabrics, so like you can see here with Bright, all of these fabrics, this is our second slow stitching kit with the map. I guess it's kind of stitch by number. So all of these fabrics come, you'll get 2 pieces of fabric. One of them is going to be pre-printed with the background to show you exactly where everything goes. And the other, you just cut out the letters and squares and rectangles. So that way you are able to have everything right there. And it should be pretty easy peasy lemon squeezy. So it is 18 inches square. It's big. And that's because we wanted you to be able to make it a pillow if you wanted, or something you hung on the wall. You can do it with slow stitching, but you can also do it with a machine. You can do the machine applique if you want. And that would also be really fun. My mom's talking about seeing how that goes. So hopefully we'll be able to show you what she came up with. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. Please let me know if you have any questions. We will see you next Monday, which is Halloween. So maybe actually we will plan on Tuesday. I didn't think about Halloween, so that wasn't a part of my plan. I guess once your kids are older and not trick-or-treating, it's not quite so crucial. So, I bet a lot of you have Halloween stuff, though. So, we will see you Tuesday, November 1st. And please be sure to touch base and let me know if you have any questions. I am always here and happy to help. Have a good weekend, everyone. Good night.